Soul power to me means being authentic, being able to be myself, my full self. I realized in corporate America that being a African American woman, that there's a lot of masks that I
Oh, yeah.
wore, and learning how to navigate that so that I can show up authentically as me and be the best version of me in my career and in my life.
I went from somebody who was completely afraid to let other people know who I am. I didn't want to speak up, always wanted to play small. I'm now applying for jobs that not that long ago would have scared me. And I know I can do this.
I had 3 job offers in 1 week, and that was all because of the coaching program. It was working with the coaches on the interview skills. It was working on refining my resume. And I was told that I was selected for the jobs because I was one of the most authentic candidates that showed up.
When you feel that you have your own authorship of your own story, it changes the power game a lot. And you'll win in life by having your soul on fire. Welcome to the Soul Powered Revolution, the essential podcast for high achieving professional women who are done playing small. I'm Coach Mo, ex-CEO, ex-COO, and creator of the Soul Powered Method that has transformed over 2,200 executive women's careers. Each week, we decode the strategies that actually work for women at the leadership level while keeping your soul intact. Because true power isn't about working harder. It's about leading from your soul. If you're ready to stop dimming your light and claim the success you deserve, you're in the right place. New episodes drop weekly. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join the revolution of women leading from their soul power. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Coach Mo Live and Soul Powered Revolution. Today, we have collected some beautiful souls from our work that we have done together. And when I call on each one of you ladies, you can do a little blurb on who you are, where you live, or whatever you think might be relevant to your sharing. And for those of you who are brand new to my soul powered world, what's wrong with you? I'm Coach Mo, and I've been helping elevate women's souls through career progression, and we call it soul powered career coaching. We used to be kick-ass career coaching, but as it is, you can't use that word very often out in social media. So I had to move toward what we really do, and that's elevate souls and elevate careers. So we're basically helping women be more successful on the inside out. And some of these ladies have been with our work for years, not because they didn't get it at first, but because they've been very interested in continuing to grow and develop and continue to enrich who they are in the world. And they will tell you their story. And I am going to start with a woman who has a dual citizenship. She was a client, and now she's been one of my wonderful soul-powered colleagues, our soul-powered career coach. Portia, give us a little who you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. And I've been on your team, Coach Mo, as a coach for about 5 years. And I did start at this journey in my career where I didn't quite know what was next and saw your ad on a Facebook ad. And I thought, Coach Mo is sharing my story. She's talking my language. So I've got a call. And I was so excited because I had never quite seen coaching like this before. And what I mean by that is it was more than just the career that you were talking to me about. It was about a lifestyle. It was about really tapping into your soul. So I live in Dallas, certainly enjoy coaching all of the ladies here in the Soul Powered team. Some of the ladies here on the panel today, we continue to coach in our accelerator program. So I'm grateful that I'm here today to be on the interview.
Yeah, Portia, as we joked earlier, I'm not a coach who wants to solve women's careers by having them be coaches. To me, it's just not the answer often. And I think sometimes it looks like an escape hatch. But you were in a very interesting point in your career, and you and your husband had a seasonality. Before you get into a little bit of that, what does being soul powered mean to you? And how did that influence or affect your decision about what to do with your career?
Oh, absolutely. So, soul power to me means being authentic and being able to be myself, my full self, the self that you usually tap into in your 20s, fresh
Yeah.
out of school, right? When you
Yeah.
have that awesome, excited, enthusiastic, motivated energy about you and you're going after the world. So, that to me is being soul powered. And I'd lost that. And so, as I was navigating through this journey and the new journey that I'm going through now, it is really about being your authentic self and being
Mhm.
able to do that. And I realized in somewhat of corporate America that being a African American woman, that there is a lot of masks that I
Oh,
wore,
yeah.
and learning how to navigate that so that I can show up authentically as me and be the best version of me in my career and in my life. So
Yeah.
that's what soul part means to me.
Yeah. You were navigating a job loss. I think
I
you
was,
had been told you were going to lose your job.
yeah,
Don't
I
think
was
you
in HR.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
definitely in human resources, have about 20 plus years of experience there and heard down the grapevine that they were laying off and that our jobs may be affected or we were going to be moved into a role that you didn't choose. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to let them choose that for me. I want to choose for myself. So
Yeah.
let me make that decision. And if you're going to let me go, then pay me to let me go.
Yeah.
So I was able to negotiate that. I think they were very surprised that I didn't stay because I've been there for almost like 15 years. And they were like, what? You're what? You're not staying?
We
And
didn't
I'm like,
really
no,
mean you had two options.
no. Mm-mm. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think
Uh-huh.
so. This is not my
Right.
soul's calling. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely learning how to stand in my power and ask for what it is that represents me
Yeah.
as me.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Leanne, you're one of our newer gals on this collection of wonderful souls. I think you've graduated from our 12-week workshop a couple of months ago,
Back in October.
October. So 6 months.
Yep.
Tell me what was going on before you entered our coaching and where are you now with whatever aspect you would like to share?
Oh, I was in a really bad place before starting this. I was burnt out, and I was just uncovering I was burnt out. I had been dealing
Mm,
with it for a couple of years just due to staffing changes, and I internally was just going through something was out of alignment. I was
mhm,
ready for a change. I'm still navigating what that change is, but I was just in a really bad mental space. And
mhm,
for some reason, your ad came up. I wasn't searching for coaching. And my job role, I'm a BSA AML information security officer. So I'm part risk manager and compliance officer, investigator. So, of course, I had to do my due diligence. It took me a little while before I made the decision to
mm,
sign up. But something deep down was just nagging at me, just do this. And I can say now I have the tools that when I'm getting stressed out or having a lot of anxiety, I can completely kill it, basically. I'm happier. That was something that was gone too. I wasn't
uh-huh.
happy.
Yeah.
Had the scary Mondays or
Mm,
scary Sundays, whatever
Sundays. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
And I found the joy. So for me to be in soul power, it's where you're in alignment with yourself, with your
Yeah.
core values, with your mission and soul purpose. And that's what I found.
Yeah. Yeah. You found yourself again. And you're still doing the same work. You're a different you. Have your coworkers noticed the difference about who you are?
Oh yeah, I think so. Even sometimes I'll feel negatively and my coworkers are like, "No, with regards to training my staff, they're like, "No, you teach us, you're a mentor and a role model and that
Mm,
definitely."
yeah, I love it. I love when you're able to take your soul power self and all of a sudden you are a positive emanating light to everyone. That's fantastic. Rue, you're in real estate.
I am.
And I remember when we first had our chat, you wanted to do big things in real estate, but what you really were doing is really coming into your power and not really accepting less. Tell us a little bit about you and what your soul powered trajectory has looked like.
So I think when you and I met, I was selling timeshare and it was a soul sucking job. It was one of those jobs where you really were always on the edge of being kicked out the door.
Mm.
And there really wasn't a lot of other options for me. I've always been in sales. Sales, like I was built for that. And when I grew up, I was always the kid that had money. I was the straight A student. I was the people
Mhm.
pleaser.
Ah.
I did everything right. And then I got divorced.
Ah.
Oh boy. And then I started selling timeshare. And boy, we just ground myself into a little nub. And when you and I were talking, there was such a lack of taking care of me.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I did such a good job of taking care of everyone but me. I'd been
Mhm.
doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got off the phone with you, I called up my friend who was my therapist, and we broke rules too. So I called her up and I was like, she's going to be so mad at me for doing this because she's going to think that she failed. And
Ah.
it was the exact opposite. She was like, oh, thank God. I'm so proud of you for taking care of yourself and
Mhm.
investing in yourself. And it was totally opposite of what I anticipated that conversation to go. Like I was being this meek little, I'm ruining this friendship. And she was like,
Yeah.
fly, be free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
really beautiful for me because what I learned in therapy and in our warrior soul powered life is I was always this very powerful person. And when I was growing up, I really had no fear at all. And I had just been in a space for 17 years that just chipped away at that person in
Yeah.
very imperceptible bites to the point where I couldn't even leave the house without permission from somebody, which was so unlike me.
Yeah.
And timeshare actually helped me get to a little bit more of that fearlessness and then I got to the place through the workshops and the warriors where I really started to reclaim my power and my joy. I've
Mhm.
always been someone, my mom, when I was a kid, she used to tell me that joy doesn't happen, you have to take it. And so since I was in high school, I've signed every note, take joy.
Mm.
And I was getting back to that place where I was taking joy in everything.
Ah.
And I think one of the things that really came across for me was a rekindling of that. I was definitely recalibrating my soul for joy,
Mhm.
learning how to be joyful. Very in real estate is a very demanding world.
Yeah.
Taking time off is something that I work really hard to do and I fail at all the time. But I still have a lot of joy and I have found a tribe because I've been authentic,
Yeah.
stepped into that joy, and I have people that now they look to me for that and they are so happy that I create space for them in such a cutthroat world.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
it's
made a pivot as well in your
I
real
did.
estate.
Oh, wow. So when I first started, of course, it was fun during COVID, but I also learned how to really be joyful in the crazy and
Mhm.
stop letting someone else tell me what I could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And real estate is one of those places where you can easily let someone else's story get in your head. Comparison is everywhere, and
Right.
it is something that you have to really focus in on. And that has been my main job. Instead of selling real estate, my
Yeah.
main job is to be joyful and to
Yes.
write my own story.
Yeah. I love that. And when you feel that you have your own authorship of your own story, it changes the power game a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's a whole, and I think the thing that's most important when you are telling yourself that story is to find and continue to collect other people that are doing that same thing.
Power
On
of
social
community.
media, that I just really work so hard to flood my social media with that type of human so
Yeah.
that it's constantly around me.
Mhm.
And my husband and I joke because my mornings are filled with, you can do this, you're a winner. And his are all the other things. We are such opposites.
Who's winning in that family? I want to know. That's
He
so
is
great.
too, because he's married to me.
Yeah. Amen. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Carrie, how has your relationship with self-worth transformed since you decided that investing in you was a good idea?
Oh, and Coach Mo, I leaned in hard those 12 weeks, and
Yeah.
I have leaned in hard since then.
She's leaning in, folks.
Oh man, to use the tools that you have provided me has given me the strength to get through some crazy stuff with family and
Mhm.
starting up a new business. There's no way without those tools that I would be able to get where I'm at. And I know that I would still be spiraling somewhere under somebody's thumb and
Yeah.
completely miserable in what I've been doing. But now I am finding purpose and joy and the meaningful connections and really that inner harmony as a result of the work that we've all done together. And to have the community of the women around me is so inspirational. Yeah, I would have to say that I consider myself my self-care.
Mhm.
Nailed that. I am the
Yeah, baby.
queen of self-care. And my
Uh-huh.
meditations are amazing. My health is amazing. I have
Mhm.
not had a migraine in nearly a year. Isn't that crazy? And my sleep is off the charts. So
Check this out. Okay. And Carrie, I'm so delighted that you went down that lane because one of the things that we tend to justify as we get a little bit older, I'm much older than you, so I know, is that as we get older, we start to justify all of these little nagging problems that happen. And what we come to find out is when we bring our soul back to life, a lot of that was that our life force energy was just depleted. And of course, the body is going to try to wake your ass up. Hey, something's not going right here. Migraines. How long did you have migraines?
oh, since I was a freshman in college. Actually, I had one when I was a kid, but freshman in college, and they were getting to be in the last few years. I could have two, three in a month, right? I have them as bad as it's other folks really did, but still going nearly a year, that's just completely unheard of.
Yeah, beautiful. And the sleep, obviously, what comes first? The soul, the chicken, or the egg? The soul, the sleep, or the migraines? And all of it goes to having a healthy nervous system. What has that meant to you to have a healthy nervous system that now your body is fueled by your soul rather than by your nervous system?
I respond in a significantly different manner to the folks that are trying really hard to push my buttons around me with a ton more calm, more connectedness, being able to see from their perspective. I don't hit the roof anywhere near what I used to. And my responses are just so much quieter and much more wisdom on the bigger picture of things.
Yeah,
And
you're
I've
able to see
wanted
this view rather than this view.
absolutely. And even my relationships with my family members, my husband started taking coaching 3 months after I did. And so he was doing it in his own little way without an actual coach. He was doing his thing. But last week, guess who just signed up for a coach? Because he's seen the difference that it makes in me.
Wow. That is great. Now,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to meet both of you. You were
Yes.
vacationing down in Florida, so I met Mr. and Mrs. Carey. And and yeah, that's fantastic because when your entire family unit is moving in the direction of not operating out of the nervous system, like things just all get better when you have that higher energetic feeling in your home. And you know what? When you're a great role model because of how your life is going and how you are looking and acting and responding, it has a ripple effect, doesn't it?
It does. Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. High five to your husband. Really love that. Kathy, what specific transformational piece has surprised you most in investing in your growth? And feel free to introduce yourself as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm Kathy. I'm a corporate tax director for a manufacturing company. I live in Wisconsin. Wow. I don't think when I started, which was only like 4.5 years ago, I had been in a manager role for 20 years and I was feeling pretty hopeless. I just was working so hard and not getting anywhere. And
Mhm.
now it's 4 years later. I was encouraged to give up on my past employer. My new company, can work from home most of the time, which is wonderful. And I got promoted to tax director. So I'm leading the function, which
Mhm.
I never would have thought that would have happened in such a short time for me, but it's been wonderful. So I just feel like I have so much more control over my schedule, just my work-life balance as a whole, but then also how we run the tax function at the company I'm at. So it's pretty
Mhm.
exciting.
You're an influencer and you're at a level where your experience and your expertise is being acknowledged and
Yep.
recognized. And you're making a real difference in how the company operates. I know that because of the coaching we've done, there's critical decisions that you have to get the business unit owners to pivot on or to make for
Yep.
bettering the P&L. So having your
Yeah, we've gone.
expertise is awesome.
Yeah, it's nice. I would have been terrified to talk to the C-suite, I think, in my past roles, but I work right for the CFO and we have
Uh-huh.
a good relationship. And I've been involved in a couple of acquisitions and then a disposition too. So I'm learning a lot, which has been fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been
How,
really,
how has this impacted your family?
I'm, I would say definitely a positive. My kids are growing now, but we have a better relationship. I think I was
Mhm.
so stressed out when they were younger and I'm a single mom and I'm just work and I don't feel like I got to engage as much with them as I would have liked to. So I feel like those relationships now are more solid, that I'm giving them more guidance. Just the relationships are more positive,
Yeah.
just all around.
Yeah.
And hopefully I've been a good role model for my girls too, that
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
seeing
Well,
what a woman can do.
I am certain that the progress that you've made has been a real spotlight for them. Because when we teach our kids that work means being stressed out and being an absolute irritable, you know what, it's really not giving them a good template for what a professional pursuit can look like. It's a downer to for them to watch their mom be annihilated by the workplace, and coming into your own and being more of a full expression of yourself and your talents and your expertise and being a bigger contributor at work, and you feel better and you're making more money, and
Yeah.
that just makes everything oiled much better.
Yep. Yep. It's been quite the miracle. And it's also, I think, encouraged me to live in more alignment and not to settle in other areas with relationships or my health or so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, there's a lot more possibilities that I didn't really see
Mhm.
before.
Yeah,
It's just,
absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Nikki, I've known you for quite a bit of time as well. What's the definition of life, or how is your definition of life different now than it was before we met?
Oh, the definition now is it's living in wholeness.
Mm,
And I think a lot of the women commented, knowing who you are, showing up as your authentic self, being able to be shiny and bright. And even when, life can be challenging and has ebbs and flows, but it is how you choose to show up. And the beautiful thing about the program, I've been in the program now, it'll be 5 years next month.
yay. Ladies are
Um,
rocking it. Love
yeah,
it.
it is just being able to the nervous system not running the show, really understanding what is alignment for you, what
Mhm.
feels right, and then taking that aligned action of this no longer suits me or this no longer feels good. And
Mhm.
instead of the rabbit hole of, oh, poor me, nope, what do I want to do about this? What do I want to change? And
Right.
this program, I've done 3 career moves while I've been in the program. 2 have
Mhm.
been career pivots, and having the confidence and courage and knowing the value. I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me is really recognizing what I bring to the table and
Yeah.
honoring my contributions, my experience, and to show up as that person has been life altering. And I would say that also translates over to how I show up in the home.
Yes.
Being present with my husband, being present with my bone, and people around me have just, wow, like you're just so much calmer. And I'm a pretty extroverted, wild, energetic person, but
Yeah.
it was nervous energy.
Yeah.
Now it's joy expression.
Mm.
It's grace, it's delight. I think sometimes just even tuning out the noise of the external world and knowing that like your voice, your soul, your divinity is what you want to listen to. And I would also just give kudos to this amazing group of women because the sisterhood of feeling like I can share personal, professional
Mhm.
challenges, wins, losses, and this community is amazing of truly lifting each other up. And I know Rue mentioned, right, in the real estate world, well, it's very competitive. I think lots of us live in very competitive environments in corporate
Yeah.
America, but having a place and a space that we actually honor and cheer and root from our soul to others is
Mhm.
just such a joyous and loving community to be in. So I'm so grateful. I don't even recognize the person 5 years ago.
Wait, who are you?
That's right. It's still Nikki, but
That's right. That's right. And there's been, as you mentioned, some twists and turns. And I know you're in our top executive program at this point. Things get more complex. And from a team perspective, we are here to support our clients wherever they might be, at whatever twist and turn, or whichever aspect of their soul or their career, sometimes family issues. What has been one of the aspects about being a leader or being in a more complex role that you learned from the coaching that may have surprised you, or at least that's like a big takeaway for you?
it's remembering who you are
Mm.
and you go back to center. So it's one of my favorite sayings of yours that I heard in the 12-week program was you play chestnut checkers. And so as things are coming at you, it is okay, let me just take a step back. I'm not going to react. And as a leader, I think it's really important that even if you feel like your hair is on fire, you don't show that to your team,
Mhm.
but you don't let your hair get on fire. You have the coaching has given us the tools to be able to stay in this aligned, centered space. And so as things come at you as a leader, what this has taught me was I can still be shiny and bright. And even if somebody's trying to knock you down, you can still show up and you bring, what you need to bring to the meeting and you prepare and you do all those things. But at your core, it's who am I and who do I want to be today?
Yeah.
And what do I want people to see? And I want people to see someone who is strong and confident and powerful, not
Yeah.
someone who's, oh my God, because
Mm.
that just trickles down. And I've been very fortunate because I work with a lot of young women and I know every day it's important to show them and role model the traits, characteristics, not only as somebody in the working world, but as a human being.
Yes. Like how to be a powerful woman in
Yes.
in your own self.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a pause for a moment and get real. If this is resonating with you, the way you get started in working with my team and I is by booking a career clarity call. It's the best hour of clarity you're going to have. Book that call today at mofall.com/talk. What would you tell women who are waiting for the right time or permission to invest in themselves?
You just do it. You do it. My biggest fear joining the program was I going to be smart enough? Did I have
Mm,
enough experience? And the beautiful thing was we all have different
mm,
experiences, but
mm.
it's investing in sometimes, and this is what it was for me, like the dark night of the soul. I knew I couldn't do it myself.
Yeah.
And I can confidently say that with the coaches, the community, it is triple time the investment because of what you gain again, both professionally, personally. It is a game changer. It's a life changer.
Mhm.
So it's not just I'm going to help you with your career. No, you really are helping transform and just get us reacquainted with who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it can be scary, but we have a phrase here, do it afraid.
That's right.
And when you do it afraid, what comes out on the end, but you can't see it while you're in it. But it truly is miraculous. And I think all of the women on this call and all of the women in the program, that we all have stories about our climbs. And
Mhm.
so I would say dive in. It's just an amazing experience. That's why I've been in 5 years. I always say I'm a Mo for life.
Mo Lifer.
Because I continue to learn and grow and expand through every coaching call, through every interaction with the sisterhood. It's a lifetime investment.
Yeah.
Do it. Dive in.
It's so fun to see you shining bright. You mentioned a phrase, dark night of the soul. And often this is an element of life where we are tossed into a meat grinder. And external circumstances can just throw us into darkness. And Paula Baker is an expert in the dark night of the soul, because when she and I met, there's hardly a collection of negative experiences happening in such a short period of time as you, Paula Baker, experienced when we first met. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I just want you to answer the question how your relationship with self-worth has transformed since
Right.
investing in your development, in your soul, in yourself.
Yeah, that was almost 7 years ago that I began. I am an HR professional living in the DC area. I know for me, my journey has been a rather difficult one. I'm a first generation college student, and I got a master's degree from an Ivy League university. So I felt like an imposter no matter where I went. I never
Yeah.
had anybody to help me navigate being a professional woman. Family kept wanting to pull me down. I kept fighting tooth and nail to improve my life. And it seems like there's so many things pulling me back down. When we first met, I had lost a job that wasn't right for me. I took it anyway. I stayed there for a year and a half. The place was sold. I lost my job. A month later, my husband passed away. And I was so down, I couldn't get a job. It's almost hard for me to look back and see who I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know I have transformed so much in the past 7 years. In a way, I'm amazed. There's times I do have glimpses of taking steps back, like currently as I'm navigating unemployment in a very challenging market, but I have the tools to help me learn and grow. I know I have discovered who I am. I have in the past few years, I've slowly been taking steps forward. I'm grateful for the continuing support. The Warriors was a game changer. Nobody yet has mentioned the retreats.
Oh, yeah.
I
Come
mean,
on
those
now.
retreats in a weekend, it's
Yeah.
amazing how much
Yeah.
a weekend can change your life, because
Yeah.
every retreat I attended knocked away another layer. So I don't even recognize who I used to be. I'm finding who I am. I went from somebody who was completely afraid to let other people know who I am. I didn't want to speak up, always wanted to play small. Now I'm not doing that anymore. I'm now applying for jobs that not that long ago would have scared me. And I'm just like, I know I can do this. And I'm wow, where did this come from? I'm in a relationship that is now the healthiest one I've ever been in. We have complete open communication. And there's times it's like I find myself saying things and I'm like, wow, I never would have done that before. So I'm like totally amazed at the transformation that I've gone through. And I know as I've navigated this difficult job search, it's like I find myself slipping back and having some of the negative thoughts, but I'm like, I have the tools that I need. I have the
Right.
supports that I
Yeah.
can go forward. And I recently had an opportunity where I could have probably gotten a job, but it would have been a step down. And the more I thought about it, I declined the opportunity to go to a third round interview because this would be a step down. I know the pay would have been less than the starting salary at my last job. And I was like, I can't go backwards. I want to go forwards.
Yeah.
So I declined that. And a week later, I got a call for an interview at a job that when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So I put it out.
You're playing with the universal energy. Way to go.
I want better. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to keep, I'm finding who I am. I'm finding myself being comfortable. I find myself, I used to be horribly, painfully shy. I'm speaking up and speaking out in situations that I never would have before. And like the guy who I'm dating, doing things with his friends, and I'm easily talking to them, and it's like he's hearing back how everybody loves me. So it's before I would have just shied away. So I have completely transformed in the 7 years. And when I first had that clarity call, I was a bit reluctant because I was like, I don't know if I can really afford this, but now I know there's no way I would not be where I am now if I hadn't. That's why I keep investing in myself. And I'm totally amazed now when I look back at 7 years and see where I was and see where I am. It's completely different.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to give you kudos to anyone and everyone who is listening, all these wonderful women's stories. Paula, you have been a fantastic soul-powered sister to the community because you share and you show up and you're vulnerable and you're strong and brave, all in being totally congruent with your journey. Being in the world is a chess game. It's a boxing match. It is world-class soccer where you're running all over the field sometimes trying to figure out how you're going to make your next goal. Like, it is the real deal. And as women, the game is rigged not in our favor. So we're playing this game where we're not even quite sure what all the rules really are. And I know in watching your journey and all the women who have come before you to share, your soul has the power and the strength to navigate all of that. And that obviously is what life is all about. Life is all about getting that soul power to be the biggest part of the player in your game. And it's certainly no surprise to me that you attracted a partner who is a high vibing, open, honest, authentic human being, because that's who you are. And this is how we play the game. We become the version of ourselves that we want to be in the world. And then the external world matches that. And kudos for declaring that your worth and your next career move is a forward move and not a backwards move. I will joke with you, Paula, because I know that you have the experience level with this work. Ladies, if you're listening to what Paula just said, this is like the Garden of Eden, where you are tempted to take the bite of the apple that is less than, that is not fully in a congruent state with who you want to be. And yes, the temptation of, I'll at least have an apple, is really compelling. But you knew that it was dividing you from the true self. And as scary as that can be, to stay congruent and to stay in your divinity, stay in your soul's alignment, it is what the universal alignment is looking for. Paula, who do you say that you are? Is really what happens in those situations. And you said, I am worth more. That's who I am. And that's a huge declaration, especially when you're a little bit scared and a little bit like, I could be in scarcity mode here. So bravo. And I want you to reach out to us in any way we can help you progress on that beautiful job opportunity. You're in our hearts, in our souls, in our circle, and we want to help you reel that one in. Love it. Christine Staub, welcome to our sharing the highs and the lows. I know as a CFO, you probably had this whole calculator going about the financial investment and is this worth it? And what's the ROI and making the case. Please feel free to introduce yourselves and then dive into that aspect of your decision to invest in yourself and what that looked like after you said yes.
I'm Christine Staub. I'm a finance professional. I found my way to Coach Mo after a job loss and was scared.
Yeah.
And I too thought about taking a step back. And initially on my coaching call, I was like, I don't have the money to do this. I just lost my job. So I thought about it and figured out whether it was a credit card, whether it was a bank loan, whether it was not to eat for a week. I decided that I was worth it and I needed to do something different
Mm,
and that I couldn't get there by myself because what I was doing wasn't working. Well, I showed up to the program. I realized I had a lot of job trauma from
yes.
various jobs
Yes.
and worked through that and found my voice. I realized that we are shaped by a lot of the people that we work for, sometimes very subtly.
Yes.
And over time, I would second guess myself a lot
Mm-hmm.
and wonder if I was truly worth it to take that next step up. And
Yeah.
now I no longer have that feeling because of all the coaching. I realized that people aren't going to shape who I can be and the things that I can do ever again.
Woof. Christine, you said you found your voice.
I did.
Do you feel comfortable sharing that story?
Sure. When my mother was ill, one of the only things that helped her when she was ill was me singing to her. And somehow in my brain, I connected her loss and to singing, and I stopped singing. And I found my voice again through Coach Mo's program. I committed to doing a recording for the group, and I wanted it to be perfect. And I gave a preview to Coach Mo that turned out to be exactly 22 years to the day that my mother died. And I didn't even realize that it was that day until the next day when I texted Coach Mo and said, "You're not going to believe this, but I sang for you online 22 years to the day that I lost my mother." And I lost my mother a week before Christmas. So to say that it was very meaningful. And I will tell you, I have just recently lost another friend, and I sang to them nonstop by their bedside, and it was one of the things that comforted them too.
Oh, in coaching thousands of women over the past 10 years, I don't remember everything. Although most of my clients are very surprised, I do remember certain things. But Christine, that will always be a moment that I will cherish forever. Because you literally spontaneously asked if you could sing in that moment of coaching. We weren't necessarily coaching on singing, right? But we were talking about your voice and coming forward. And what an epic breakthrough. And I think you fielded 3 offers for different CFO and top finance offers, right? You not only found your voice and opened your expression of self, but it unleashed your power. Boom.
I had 3 job offers in 1 week. And that was all because of the coaching program. It was working with the coaches on the interview skills. It was working on refining my resume. And I was told that I was selected for the jobs because I was one of the most authentic candidates that showed up.
Well done. And here's the interesting thing. And Leanne, I'm going to go back to you because I had an executive career. I had coaches all along my executive career. I played sports when I was a young girl and in high school and college, and I inherently get what a coach does. What did you learn of what a coach, or obviously we have a team, but what did you learn, or what were you perhaps surprised at, or wow, I didn't realize that was going to be that? What big aha moment did you have about what coaching is?
For me, I think it was someone seeing your blind spots, because you can't see everything or navigate, especially with what I was going through, just different ideas. My communication skills just going through the soul powered communicator, like putting more emotion into it, putting more of myself into it. That's something, if I do a speech, I'm not going to see for myself.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest aha moment in coaching, is just having someone else seeing something that you're not even aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. And I've been coached. So I've had a coach for 25 years, different ones along the way, but since the year 2000, I've had a coach, or maybe some years I might have had one or two. That was the very first thing my first coach talked to me about, was blind spots. And I'm like, I don't have any blind spots. Like, I'm a pretty aware person. I read all the books. I went to conferences. Like, at this point, I was like almost 40. I knew everything. And when she said something to me about my blind spots, I went like this. So it's funny that you mentioned that thing, because it was my first aha moment in my first coach, not sports coach, to really recognize that I did have blind spots, but I was so busy being successful or trying to get work done that I'm like, no, I don't have any. I'm getting shit done, man. All the time I'm getting shit done. I'm moving things forward. I'm going to meetings. My team's achieving stuff. Blind spots. Jeez. Kathy, what was it for you?
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's just, for me, I was always paralyzed with making decisions. I still am. And it's, if I get myself stuck, it's like having somebody help push me along or see things from a different perspective. That, yeah, maybe this path isn't working because it's not meant to work. And if you look at, like I did,
Yeah.
maybe you need to leave where you're at and try something new. And along the lines too, it wasn't just, when I went through my divorce, I did a lot of spiritual learning, but I never applied it to my career. That was cool. That was different and cool.
Yeah.
And along the way, I also got coached on, besides just work things, if I had a personal something come up, it was nice to have somebody that I could bounce it off of, and that would say, hey, here's how you could respond to that.
Yeah.
So it was all very valuable.
Yeah. So good. Portia, you decided to get into coaching. Again, I still haven't gotten over that. Just kidding.
I don't know. I've been around for a minute.
I know. Over the last 5 years, you've witnessed hundreds and hundreds of women transforming in front of your eyes, and much of it to your great work as a coach. What are some of the things that you've seen, having had the unique perspective of having been through my program and then be at the front line helping women navigate? Give us some of your insights and things that you've seen and what this whole journey is from
Looking like from, yeah, the biggest thing for me when I went through the program was learning the tools. Like the tools was like that toolbox was a game changer for me. It's, oh, I can do something about my emotions. I don't, I can like navigate that differently. What? So all of the tools in the toolbox, like I still use that to this day to navigate my world, my life, my morning routine, and even have an evening routine. Like that was a game changer for me to have that in place. I've always been a spiritual person, but for that toolbox was just the game changer, being introduced to meditation and things of that nature. So I definitely see when ladies are joining, they are scared, they are fearful, they have a lot of job trauma that they don't even realize that's what it is. They're like, oh yeah, job trauma. That sounds like that. I didn't know what to call it, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And as they're navigating through, they certainly learn how to release that from their soul place, from their authentic place, so that they can be the best versions of them. And then from a career perspective, I see ladies all the time when they come to us and they'll say, I've applied for 50 jobs and haven't gotten anywhere, or I had my resume professionally done and I still haven't gotten the dream job yet. And the difference that we see is that when you combine your soul's power into it, when you put you into what it is that you have been called to do, that's the game changer. It's not just about having a great resume, even though we do have wonderful resumes and great LinkedIn profiles. It's also about you putting you in that resume, in the LinkedIn. Yeah. That makes a difference. That calls in what those opportunities are that you probably don't even realize they exist. We've had several ladies that have said, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this job existed. Because when they start to look for opportunities from that soul place, they start seeing opportunities that they've never seen before. So it opens up a whole nother world. It's almost like being a part of the Matrix, and you take the pill and you're like, oh, this whole new world is coming to me. This is how it works. Certainly, just it's such a joy to see ladies go through the journey in such a very short period of time, if you really think about it, how life changing it is and can be.
Yes.
And every single woman that I've coached and that have actually dove in, did the work. I remember Carrie, she was on every call. She dove in and she did the work. She was like, this is amazing. We could literally see her transformation physically in her face. Like I can
Yes.
see her joy coming back. I can see her coming back alive. And yes, she shared that with her family, which was awesome and amazing as well. So it's not just about the person that we coach, it's about who they touch too.
Absolutely.
Because when their light shines, then they shine light in other areas and aspects as well. So it's a beautiful space to be.
I know you've got a woman to welcome now. I know you got to jump
I
off.
do have a woman to welcome now.
We are continuing to help women. So thank you very much for coming, Portia. And I know our new gal is going to absolutely love saying hello to you. So thank you very much. Rue, I know that as a salesperson, you got to be all that in a bag of chips all the time. How do you use the soul powered tools to stay on your game?
When I have a confession, when I first started the morning routine that you shared with us, the miracle morning, I didn't quite get it. And about, I'm going to say 3/4 of the way through, I actually took some time and I meditated for realsies. And it was like somebody went inside and turned on the pilot light.
Yeah.
And it created an energy that I've never felt before. And it got to where once you tap into that, you crave it.
Yes.
And it really, when we talk about the emotional scale, it was at the pinnacle. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this is what this is. My brain just went,
the fire within. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is why this is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I got into real estate, I also chose to go into coaching. And what I learned in my coaching program, that they lined up so perfectly with where you had taken me in our program, that it was like, and they did the miracle morning for real estate. I didn't even know that existed. And I was like, okay, I'm in the right space. I have to the next part of my journey. And so what I love the most about my coaches is that they are all on the same path with me. No one is diverging me. So my energy gets to keep going forward. And I can tell when I don't tap in the morning. I know that I haven't done it.
Yep.
I've also come to a place where sometimes I don't have a lot of time, but because I have given myself this little brain moment, I actually can get there faster.
Yes.
And I can also do it in the middle of the day when life hits me upside the face with a 2x4.
Yeah.
Because it happens. And what I do is now, which is so something I never would have done in my past life, when I get smacked, I notice and I stop and I recalibrate. And I will play a song that gets my heart pumping until I am back to my center. I will talk to myself. I will tell myself a different story.
Yeah.
I will take the time to change what's happening in my brain. I'm still not perfect at the whole visualization part. I'm still a student there.
Yep.
But every day you get better and better.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is so beautiful about the community, because when I'm not able to find my path, I have my sisterhood to go into and say, hey guys, a girl could use a little help here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it never fails. I
Yeah.
always get exactly. And I think that's the other thing that's so beautiful about this community is we don't tear each other down. There's so much of that out there.
Yeah.
It's so hard sometimes to watch that happen that it's almost easy to retreat, but that is not what I'm called to do. I'm called to be a light out there, and I know it.
Yep.
And so I love that I have so much support to continue to be that light. And I think that's what your program has also helped create is a bunch of lights. You really don't know how important that is until you're having a hard day.
Yeah.
And your light gets dimmed and everyone around you is, she's broken. Oh, somebody fix her. How do we get her back? Because they are depending on you. They need you.
Yeah.
Be that light. So your time to feed yourself is oh so important.
Amen.
And I run a room every Thursday morning for 2 hours, and all we talk about is what has brought us joy for the week. And I had someone in the group say to me, can you just take us through a thing where you tell us how to create that joy and give us the words to say for ourselves? And I felt like Miliana and I had to. So I just spoke positive words for almost 20 minutes. And everyone was so grateful for that. I had no idea that this was such a need.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's amazing how important this light is for the rest of the world. It really is.
It is. And it's contagious because here you are running a meeting every Thursday morning, sharing that and lifting them up. And then they're doing the same. If you didn't have your light, you wouldn't be doing that.
No.
Or
Well,
you'd be doing strategy, or you'd be doing something else that is in the physical world of move something from point A to point B, and enlightening. And look, do we have to remind ourselves how important it is to have more light in the world right now?
Every day.
And as women, we are being called to a higher level of light because that's what we have here. Nikki, you've been to many of our retreats. You're in our executive circle. You keep up leveling. You keep claiming that next level of success because you're eager to be the light for people who you are working with. You mentioned earlier having a bunch of young women on your teams over the years and wanting them to have a role model that is a different type of leader than what you had for so many years, which is what brought you to our work. Tell me about the history making that now is for you. How are you making history different for the women who you touch or all the humans you touch?
Yeah, I think what's powerful is I think teachers have this a lot, right? You don't necessarily know the impact that you have until you've moved on or someone reaches out to you. And one of the things that has just been just such a beautiful thing for me to see is people who reach out after I had led them a few years ago and just out of the blue saying, hey, I was thinking about you and what an amazing leader you are. And I've really tried to emulate things that I saw that you do. And hey, can we connect? I was just thinking about you and I would love to talk to you about career trajectory and progression and also just being vulnerable with people. And right, again, it's not easy. But it's again how you want to show up. And that's a question. The more that you ask yourself that question, that's who you're going to bring to the world. And that was something that I passed on. And so what to me is amazing is seeing, similar to what Portia was saying, when you see these women who started as like frontline supervisors who are now directors and leading technology and making this huge impact, I feel that's the legacy, is being that light, teaching, listening, helping them navigate the things that they don't know, asking them questions, but most importantly, like sharing with them and showing them, most importantly, showing them that who you are and being that authentic self is possible
Yeah.
if you choose it.
Yeah. Totally. Carrie Harnish, I don't know that you ever considered yourself being a history maker. How does it feel to be making history and changing the trajectory of your family?
I have two different examples, Coach Mo, to share. One is my niece is turning 15 in a few weeks, actually, and has been showing all the kind of high school drama boy kind of
Mhm.
junk. And we have been working through who we are now and what we would say to our younger selves. And I'm like, I wish somebody would have said this to me when I was 15. Right. And
Mm.
so I have been sharing so much of the wisdom that I've been gaining from this journey, going, okay, I don't want you to be 50 and going, why didn't somebody tell me this now when I'm 15?
Yeah.
So I've challenged her and given her multiple books off of your reading list. And so she is an avid reader. She's probably already finished 4 of them since the weekend. But now challenging her to have that book club conversation with Aunt Carrie, who's a safe, wise
Mhm.
woman, right? My other
Hey, wise
example
woman. Nice.
is I had a role for a moment of being a senior director and with a
Mhm.
team that the culture was unbelievably toxic. And of course, when you are interviewing, they don't tell you that, right? But when you get in there, you're like, whoa, this is really bad, right? And so the team was sending out these emails and they were just so negative. It was awful. And so I'm like, okay, no more emails without running that thing through Chat GPT or or through any of the AIs, and tell it to run a positive note. You would not believe how quickly the culture changed on my team. It was within a
Mm.
matter of weeks that
Mm.
culture changed, and the encouragement and the support for each other by just giving that guidance of, we're not doing negative and that's not how my soul runs, and we're going to make it the changes here, and here are the tools to do it. It was unbelievable.
That's amazing. And yeah, some people, I guess, don't really have even someone who has said to them, hey, we can do better here. We can do better here. Christine, how are you changing history now that you have your voice back?
I have a son that's in college. So I spend a lot of time on the college campus, mostly with the finance majors because they love to pick my brain.
Super.
So when I go to campus and really see some of the younger women struggling, especially those that are in an internship trying to negotiate for their first salary, a lot of the internships are not paid. So they give 6 months to the company and then they're trying to negotiate a salary. And right now I'm working with 2 or 3 of them that are going to graduate in June.
Uh-huh.
And we're working on negotiating skills so that they start out with what they're worth for the time that they gave.
Yeah. What a fine opportunity for those women to be exposed to permission to have boundaries, have a worthiness, have standards, and not just accept what they're being led to blindly, if you will.
I think the other piece that's truly influenced me is when I see other women struggling at work. And I was struggling with it's got to be perfect. And why can't I get it all together? And am I
Yeah,
good enough?
yeah.
And I coached a young woman this week who was struggling with she can't do it all and she can't do it all well. And the first thing I said to her was, you need to give yourself some grace
Yeah.
and really just take the time to listen. I wish in the time until I found the coaching program that I had someone who could just sit and listen and say, I've been in your shoes.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. And to have someone who can guide that next step or those next steps, that's really important. Ladies, you're all changing your personal history. You've changed your personal history. You're changing the history of who you're now influencing just by being that higher soul powered version of you. And it's been my honor and pleasure, as well as my teams, to watch you and support you on your journeys and to give you tools and have you have a nice big set of tools around your belt to pull at any given time, and just really to stay a positive influence, not only in your lives and your families, but also in the sisterhood that we have created of very positive, soul powered humans who are all continuing on this journey. Because that is what our lifetime is for. Our lifetime is for our souls to get brighter and to make life easier for ourselves. And I don't mean easy as in lazy, easier as in more in flow, more authentic, more aligned. And therefore, you can do even better work in the world. So thank you for sharing your time and your voices and everything else. Is there anything anyone wants to say before we wrap up this wonderful conversation? Yes, Carrie.
I just wanted to add how important it is to have that focus on women that you have in your coaching, and that you have been unpacking all of those messages that we have been hearing all along and using that to define who we are. You're questioning our beliefs and you're setting us straight, and you're making it so that we know we can do hard things and that we don't have to continue to listen to those voices that we have been hearing all these years.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, we're told things that other people want us to believe and to think, and we don't need to play by those rules. We can chart our own course and do our thing with our own power. So yeah, so glad. I'm looking forward to continue to watch your journeys, ladies, and for you to inspire others. I know that this conversation will inspire other women, and when they hear what's possible, they'll be able to lean in and really express themselves. They'll be able to speak up and use the power of their emotions. They'll be able to overcome obstacles. They'll be able to influence their families. They'll be able to hold other people in their community and in their industry to a higher standard of expressing joy, and move through job transitions and move up the scale of what's possible and what their influence is. And Kathy, nothing makes me happier than to see a tax director with a big, beautiful soul and big, beautiful voice and a personality to go with your keen intellect on tax. So ladies, thank you again so much for sharing your time and your voice and your experience. And let's keep having women's voices be powerful in the world. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach Mo Faul, mofaul.com/talk. If you'd like to jump on a clarity call and get started on your journey. Thank you, Sydney, very much for making this possible as well. Thank you, ladies. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, Coach.
Everything that women face in the corporate world, in life actually, can be counterattacked, counteropposed by a woman's powerful internal sense of being. And I call that your soul power. I want to help more women understand their soul power, and I want to create a soul-powered revolution. This is Coach Mo, mofaul.com.